Hey everyone. So today was kind of a disappointing day at work. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff working as an EMT, but today has to be the most troubling thing that I've ever seen. It actually wasn't anything gruesome or anything that had to deal with a patient's well-being per se, but I think it was a very, very great injustice that was done to this patient. So what happened was my partner and I we were training someone today. So it was this guy's first day, and my partner and I, we have both been at this place for over a year now. So we go into the hospital to go pick up this patient, and the patient is already upset, and she's upset because the hospital is trying to kick her out. We didn't realize that just before we got there that I don't know if it was a nurse or what, but she was working with the nurses there. She had called security to have this lady removed. This lady who had a scheduled transport to leave the hospital to go home, they called security on her. And they called security on her because they thought that this lady was just trying to poach there. Now, long story short, what happened was that this lady, for her type of injury, her insurance was no longer willing to pay for a hospital stay. They said that in most cases, that patients go home, around this time. So they weren't going to pay anymore, and the hospital, they didn't want her there anymore because they weren't getting paid for it. But as I'm looking around, I see that there are several empty rooms around, so it's not like they're stockpiled. But what I'm saying is that although most cases that this lady had, she had a tib-fib fracture, by the way, is that you can't treat people on an average. That average is based up of people that take a little shorter and a little longer. In this case, she was in the region of a little longer. So what I don't understand is why they were so aggressive to get her out. With us, she seemed nice enough. Every patient can have their difficult moments at times, I get it. But they called security on her to kick her out of the hospital. And you know what security did? They laughed at them and said, no, they're a patient. This has nothing to do with us. She's not endangering anyone. She's not being she's not considered a threat. And then they left. And then this is the point where we get there, and the hospital, they just want us to go right away. But considering her condition and the fact that she didn't have the proper equipment at her house to accommodate her situation, we didn't feel safe transporting her. Did we have all the proper and necessary tools if she was able to bend her leg? Yes. Could we have done it safely if that was the case? Yes. But that was not the case. So we argued for the point of, hey, could we reschedule the transport? Maybe this isn't the best time to do it. And the hospital said, no way, we'll go with someone else if that's the case. But as I'm talking to the nurses, my partner is developing a rapport with the patient. And it is at this point that the patient has decided to no longer go with any other ambulance company and will only go with us. And the reason for that is because she had been mistreated by her insurance and by the hospital. And so now she feels that there aren't few people in support of her. So she feels that she can only trust us. Now, as this whole debate's going on, we didn't realize that one of the other personnel there was relaying all this information to her insurance that said, you know what, screw it, it's costing us too much, we're just going to cancel the transport as well. They canceled the transport. And so now our our boss is not allowing us to transport because it will generate him no revenue. And so she began to cry, and this tore me apart. So I called my boss and I said, hey, you know what? The husband has just informed me, because of the situation, that he will make accommodations for her. And she is so unhappy here that she is willing to go home with those accommodations. Can you get back the call? And they said, yes, but we have another call for you right now. And so I told her, I said, you know what? Just wait here. We'll come back for you. We'll come and get you. And it stopped. She calmed down and said, all right, you know what? I'll wait until the insurance comes back. And I told her, you know what? My guys are pretty good over at the office. We'll get this call back from the insurance. We run another call that gives us a relatively rough time. Not too bad though. And we're on 2 hours of overtime. Keep in mind that we run 10-hour shifts. So we're already on overtime here. We're entering our 12th hour as we're getting her. And because her leg needs to be straight and can't be bent, we have to jimmy rig it so that once we get her onto the gurney, we have to prop it up with a few traction poles and a lot of pillows. Then we finally get to her house, get her onto the stair check, and we have to jimmy rig it so that we use a bunch of tape, ace wrap, gauze, more traction poles, more cardboard splints, just to keep it straight. And then we have to get help from the neighbors and her husband, because we don't have enough hands to support her leg and to bring her up the stairs. The reason for this, the reason why we don't have enough hands is because, not the people that dispatch us, but their boss doesn't want to send another crew because it will cost him money, which we find out later that crew wasn't doing anything anyways. He just wanted that extra crew to be paid for. And if those services are not going to be paid for, he doesn't want to render them, despite the fact that the other crew wasn't doing anything. Now, I'm sorry, but that is not the way that healthcare should be run. We should treat patients on an individual basis. Yes, there are specific guidelines in which we should follow that should help us, monitor care, to give us a baseline from which we can go from, but are not laws in which are set in stone that we have to adhere by. This lady was hurt. She was in pain. She went to the hospital to feel better. Not to be picked on and made fun of. It's stuff like that I can't stand. And the insurance, how much money do they make? On all these people for so many years that don't file a claim but have to pay money into it, and all the interest that they collect on top of that, and they're unwilling to pay for an extra day or two. Health insurance is a very rich industry. In comparison, yes, hospital bills aren't cheap, but if you compare the dollar amount to what they have as opposed to how much a hospital bill costs, it dwarfs it. So, I don't want to ramble on too much longer. I'm kind of upset by it. I don't want to upset you guys, but I want to kind of get your guys' take on it. Let me know about your experiences with healthcare here in America, and let me know if this Affordable Healthcare Act has helped you out, or if it hasn't. Let me know what you don't like about it, and what do you think should be done about it. I appreciate your guys' time, and let me rant to you guys about this. This one just really bugged me today. So you guys have a good one, and I hope you guys have a good healthcare provider.